Hey everybody, this is Dan from Mechanical Malarkey. Welcome to part 2 of working on my truck. This one's going to have a lot less time-lapse stuff in it, because a lot of stuff I didn't actually film while I was working on it. Alright, time for day 3 of fixing the brakes on my truck. I don't have a whole ton planned today. I did get a second drum, so I need to put that on. Then I'm going to try to get all the parking brake cables figured out. Not planning on touching the brake lines today, but if I can get all this stuff done, it'll be good progress. So I did forget to order one of these, but I cleaned this up at work a little, so it's not quite as rusty. It should work just fine. So I got the rear cables hooked in the bracket. I got that bolt-on bracket back on. Now I just need to replace the front cable and I can put all this stuff together. Got a long enough bolt in here? Alright, this is day 4 of working on the truck. I didn't shoot much video last time because everything was fighting me every single step of these cables. So first, getting the new cables into this bracket. They were fighting me, eventually got them in. Front cable, getting it out of this spot, that was hard. And then getting it into this spot was hard. I had to unbolt the pedal from right here so I could get the cable off of it. And then the cable comes up through the floor here. Taking the pedal off, there's 2 studs that go through the firewall, and even though they're not rusty, they were really hard to get off, and then one of them snapped the entire stud off. And then just getting this cable out of that hole was a giant pain, of course, too. So here's the pedal assembly. You can see where I took it to work and drilled out the other stud. I'm going to have to do just a nut and bolt through the firewall, so it means I'm going to have someone to hold the other side, but it's better than just one. That's going to go through like that. Then I figured, well, I might not be able to get the cable attached to this, I can at least get the rest of the cables together. So I tried to put this together, but for some reason the nut would not go onto this. So I took it to work to try chasing the threads, and instead my chase got stuck on here and completely destroyed the threads. So I just cut it off and re-tap the end of it. But now this is together, so now I can start putting it all together. Another thing I noticed is that the dash is not in great shape. Like the actual structure looks kind of bent, and there's actually a crack in here, so I might need to reinforce that at some point if I'm going to be pushing on this a lot. This must be old lock nuts or something. Now let's see if I can tighten that without having to grab a second person. Just wedged that wrench in there and I held it in place while I tightened it from the engine compartment side. So this isn't reaching. I don't know if I have the wrong front cable or what. It's like 1.5 inches too short. It's a little bit too short. So welcome to day, I don't even know at this point. It's been a lot of random couple hours here and there. Last time I worked on the truck I did not shoot anything because I just wanted to get stuff done. So I'm going to show you what I did. So when I first installed the front cable, it was like 1.5 inches too short, ended like right here. So I had to get a cable repair kit, which is basically just a new cable that you stick into the original sleeve in the vehicle. So I replaced that, I had it the right length, and I got all this adjusted, so that seems to be working. I won't be able to tell for sure until I have it with the wheels on and everything. So then I got to work on the rear brake hose. Goes down from the frame to the axle. And I couldn't tell what this thing was that was holding it on, because this is a random rust and a tiny bit of rubber. Eventually I figured out it's the breather for the rear axle that the hose broke off of long ago. So the hose just sitting there. So I got that off, got it cleaned up. Now I'm ready to make the brake lines. Here's the breather all cleaned up, ready to go in. Goes through that hole there. Got all my brake line equipment ready. I like to use copper because it's easy to work with. If you want to know more about this tool, I have a whole video on that. I actually already had most of the fittings I needed from when I did my dad's brake lines on his Civic and I bought the wrong kind. But then when I was test fitting them on the new hose, I found that one of them uses a larger fitting for whatever reason. So first I'm going to install the hose and I'm going to start building the lines. Then it goes through, then there's a clamp. I have some tape on the end so I don't get rust in here while I'm working on it. A little Teflon on to seal it. And this goes like that. I'm going to put a new hose on this because this one is just dried out. But time to do the lines. Starting with the left rear line, this is the old one, so I can make a rough approximation of it. Obviously I already cut off the end, so it's not super exact how I'm going to be doing it, but this is a good start. Now for the right rear line. See, I had to cut this off of its mounting tabs and stuff, so I'm going to have to zip tie it or something. This one will be interesting. I managed to get the rear lines out. Discovered it's actually a two-piece with a union there. So there are some specific bends in here, but I'm just gonna pretty generally bend it, except for the ends probably. So I'm just gonna be shoving it in there. Alright, I've got my new rear lines made. You can see that I did use a tubing bender tool on these ends, but the rest of it I just free-formed by hand to roughly match the shape of the old ones. So one of the things I like about copper is that I can just form it by hand and then adjust it as I'm sticking it into the vehicle. Now to get all these in there. Alright, time to bleed it. See if anything leaks. Alright, so I got both sides bled, and I didn't see any leaks. So now that I'm done with the brakes, I'm going to take a look at the exhaust, because I did a catback exhaust a while ago, and then it started getting loud again, so I think it's probably the cat, hopefully not the manifolds, is going bad. So I need to take a look at that. I wanted to start the truck to see where it actually is leaking, but it doesn't want to start because it's low on gas. And with a rear in the air like this, doesn't want to start. Probably all the gas is not where the pickup is. So I'm going to take a look at that and see if I can tell what I need. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's that. I'm not quite sure what this little pipe is, but that's a giant opening right there. So I just have to figure out what to do with that and then patch that up. So this is the Egr pipe. Comes out of the exhaust and then goes up to the intake. So this I can just cap off because this is the other end of the Egr pipe, into this valve. As you can see, I've already blocked it off because the valve got stuck, so it doesn't matter if I have Egr anymore. So I can just cap that off. So here's what's going on. My truck isn't starting because the fuel pump randomly decided to quit working. So now I need to find out if it's the fuel pump itself or the wiring. So I took the toolbox off, took the bed liner out, lifted up the OSB that's providing a good floor, because this is the condition of the floor. Below that is the fuel pump for the rear tank. And conveniently, the panel has already been cut. So I just need to move that and I can get to the fuel pump and test it. There is the fuel pump. I just need to figure out which wires are which. So I was able to use my power probe and I powered the pump, and the truck was able to run for a little bit on the pressure I'd built. So for some reason the pump is just not getting turned on. So now I need to either just run my own wire or find where the wire is disconnected. Well, since I know that it's just not getting power, I'm looking around for any obvious wire problems. I mean, everything's a wire problem, but trying to find anything for that circuit. I don't know if this is the fuel pump relay, but this wire just broke off here. Alright, so I'm pretty sure I found the problem. That broken off wire was the power supply that goes through the relay. When I applied power to this side, this wire, I heard the pump go. Now I just need to install a new relay. So a quick recap on what happened. So this is the fuel pump relay, and one of the wires had corroded and must have broken. I must have bumped it while I was working on the parking brake pedal. So I just cut off the wires, put new ends on it, and put a new relay on that I had lying in the garage. Also zip tied it so it's not just flopping around like the old one was. Let's see if this is any quieter. This is my exhaust repair. You can see I capped off the old Egr pipe. Used a copper cap, is the only thing I could find in the home improvement store. So I've slapped that on with some exhaust repair sealant and then a hose clamp just to hold it on. And now my exhaust is a lot quieter and a lot less smelly in the cab. Well, first test drive was a success. I would say maybe could use a little bleeding. Pedals never really felt great, but and it stops, which is good for me. I should check it for more leaks though, just to be sure. And I have a few other little small things to tidy up on this. Otherwise, it's finally back on the road. I have a little bit more adjustment available in this, but I think I'm gonna take out the pedal again so I can readjust the front cable just to get me some more tension without having the nut this far down the adjuster. Which means this will be the third time the pedal's coming out, I think. It's been a lot. I'll see you when I'm done with that. Alright, so I got the parking brake cable adjusted a bit tighter. It's hard to really know for sure whether it's going to hold the truck on a hill until I actually go on a hill. I also looked at the brake pedal switch because I found that it doesn't seem to turn on the lights until the pedal's like halfway down, which I rarely ever actually reach while I'm normally driving. But I couldn't really figure out if there's any adjustment to it or not, so I guess I'll just leave it. Next thing I'm going to see if I can do anything with is this radio. As you can see, it's seen better days. Doesn't actually work at all, but if I can get this out, then I have the aftermarket radio that was in my old Civic. I want to see if I can get that wired in here instead, because currently it's either this radio or listening to stuff on headphones. It would be nice to have an actual radio in the truck. Now this is a great mess of wiring. How many splices are in this? There's like 2 splices in each wire. 3 splices. Wow. That's crazy. This is a legit old Ford radio. Well, the right speaker works. The left doesn't, but it works. That is great. Alright, I got the radio wired. It was pretty interesting. I had to figure out the wiring between Ford on the left side and the Kenwood harness on the right, but I got it. Got both speakers working. Obviously there's no proper holder holding this in, but it's working, and that makes me happy. So now just one more thing, and then I'm going to end this video. I'm going to take off this shelf because it vibrates all the time. My visor has a zip tie holding it on instead of the actual thing there. So I'm going to take this off. Look at that. It's got a real sun visor again. Well, these are totally the wrong screws, so they don't really hold it tightly, but that's good. Alright, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me, seeing what I was doing on my truck. Hopefully I won't be doing a lot of work on it for a while now. This was a lot of work. It's been a few weeks since I got to drive this, but it's ready again. So I rebuilt all the rear brakes, lines, cables, shoes, drums, everything. And I had to fix the fuel pump relay, and I changed my radio, took out the shelf. Now I have visors the way they're supposed to be. Yeah, let me know if you like this kind of video. Next time I have work to do, I might show it to you like this. If you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And read the blog at mechanicalmalarkey.com. Thanks for watching.